I have breaking news for Social Security recipients. Millions are eligible for back pay up to $4,320. President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act. And as a result of this act, not only are millions of Social Security recipients going to get an increase of $360 on average, but they are going to get back pay minimum of $4,320 that is coming. Let's jump right into it. So here's what the picture looks like. The Social Security Fairness Act passed. It passed the Senate. The president signed it into law. And this kicked off a series of action that is about to take place. First of all, on average, those who are eligible are going to get $360 a month increase in their Social Security benefits. Next, some people could get up to $1,559 increase depending on how much Social Security benefits you were denied based on the work that you did in the federal government or generally in government, public sector workers. And then third, some people could get, based on the increase from this Social Security Fairness Act, based on this bill, some are eligible for up to $1,576, which is the average Social Security benefit, and theirs could increase to $3,559. This is life-changing stuff. And then finally, there is back pay. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for. So not only did the Social Security Fairness Act pass, but the government is going back till January 2024 up to December 2024, and each person eligible is going to get a back pay. So if the average increase for those who are eligible under the Social Security Fairness Act, if the average pay is $360 increase, you multiply that by 12, it means that at minimum, each person is going to get $4,320 in back pay, on top of the fact that their Social Security benefit is going to increase by $360 a month. Let me explain all of this in detail. Let's get right into it. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because all we do is bring you breaking news and updates on anything that's going to affect your Social Security, disability, food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, and any personal finance issues in and out of Congress that is going to affect seniors. So let's jump right into it. So first, let's talk about why this is such a big deal. So the Social Security Fairness Act has been all over the news. This is PBS News announcing the passage of the bill and the president signing it. This is Newsweek bringing in the same news. We have Reuters news agency talking about Biden signed Social Security measure to expand benefits for some retirees. And we have Kiplinger, Social Security Fairness Act will boost retirement benefit for millions. Keyword, millions. Will you be impacted? And so I took all the news and kind of summarized it into something that I can present you to give you an idea of what this is all about, who is eligible, why some people are getting increase and others are not getting Social Security increase, and why a lot of people have been waiting for decades for this to happen. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is that over 3 million beneficiaries will see their check jump from $1,766 to up to $3,559. After a 40-year battle, a massive change is coming that will cost $190 billion. Government workers in certain states are about to see a very big increase in their Social Security benefit. So why is this happening? Well, it's been a long battle that has been fought for decades, and now it's finally won. The president has signed it into law. So let's take a look at it. So since 1983, government workers have been fighting against the WEP's unfair reduction in their Social Security benefit. Organizations representing teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, and a lot of government workers have been fighting Congress to try to right this wrong. And for the retired people who are affected by this, this is going to be life-changing. So the 40-year repeal of the WEP provision addresses a long-standing issue where government workers with pensions and Social Security were affected because their social security benefits were reduced because they were getting government pension. And the repeal recognizes that these workers had earned both benefits. They earned their pension because they work for the government. They earned their social security because they work in the private sector and were able to contribute the minimum eligibility to get social security. So effective January 2024, most of these people are going to get back pay. The back pay goes all the way back to January to December. So if you are affected by this, you are likely to get about $4,320 in lump sum that is going to be sent to you. And on top of that, you're going to get an average of $360 a month. And some people are going to get up to $1,500 a month Social Security increase starting in February and March. Primary beneficiaries are public servants who are affected by these laws. Most of them worked at least the 10 years that is eligible to get Social Security benefits, but they were denied some or all of their benefits because they were also receiving government pension from the work that they did when they worked in the public sector. So what does this mean? Well, the current National Social Security average is $1,976. That's the average Social Security benefits right now. Based on this law, if you're getting Social Security, you usually are getting a 50% replacement. So the current Social Security benefits that you're receiving is about 50% of the earnings that you used to make before you retired. Well, some people are about to get a 90% replacement because of this act, because they've been denied benefits for so long. So the repeal corrects a system that unfairly reduced Social Security benefits for government workers, sometimes to up to 50% of what they earn through the private sector. These workers fully earn their benefits, they paid into FICA, and should get their Social Security benefits. So the argument was that they were double dipping and that it was unfair that they were getting a government pension and they were also getting Social Security. So the law was passed to make sure that they cannot get both. Or if they were getting both, they were getting a very reduced amount of Social Security. So there were a lot of teachers who retired and also worked in the private sector thinking they're going to get Social Security and ended up having to depend on a tiny government pension and weren't able to access all of their Social Security benefits. So this removes additional provisions called the GPO that affected spouses of government employees who were receiving pensions but previously could not get the Social Security benefits. It restored full survivor benefits for widows and widowers of government employees who often lost most of all their Social Security benefit for their spouses. So this creates equality between government and private sector for spousal benefits. Particularly important is that retired teachers in some states who could not access Social Security benefits are now eligible for it. So is this fair? Is the Social Security Fairness Act fair to all? Because here is something that the government is doing to right the wrong for public sector workers, but then there are people who are on Social Security benefits who are struggling, who also think that they deserve an increase, and this particular law does not apply to them. So the question is this fair? Well, here's what the case looks like. If you're on Social Security benefits today, you got a 2.5% COLA increase. That's across the board. That is about a $40 to $50 increase for some people. Meanwhile, you're watching some people now about to get $360 increase in their Social Security benefit because they work for the government and were denied Social Security based on WEP and GPO. And so now the Senate and the House passed the law, the president signed, and is going to restore their benefits back to them. Some will get as much as $1,559 a month increase. They're going to get a $4,320 lump sum payment. And so let me hear your thoughts. I want to hear, do you think this is fair? Even though it's fair to them, is it fair that not everybody is getting a Social Security increase? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. But let's dig deeper. This is going to cost $190 billion. And here is the kicker. It's going to accelerate the rate at which the Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out of money. If you've been paying attention to the news, you know that the Social Security Trust Fund will run out of money in 2033, at which point there's going to be an automatic 20% cut in Social Security benefits. And so this particular bill, the Social Security Fairness Act, is just going to make that a little worse. It's going to speed up that insolvency by 6 months. So even though they are righting the wrong for one group of people, it's creating a whole host of issues for everybody else who does not benefit from this. So let's look at what this looks at right now. Under the current system, the average monthly check for Social Security is $1,976. It represents a 50% replacement rate of lifetime earnings. With the new 90% replacement rate, affected workers could see their benefits increase up to $3,559 on a monthly basis. This represents a significant increase in monthly income for affected groups, potentially transforming their retirement security. This disparity creates a situation where workers with identical earnings are receiving different benefits. But more than 3 million people are going to receive this lump sum payment of thousands of dollars to make up for money that they've been missing out on for years, in some cases for decades. According to the Federal News Network, eliminating WEP will increase monthly Social Security payments for about $360 on average. Eliminating the GPO will increase monthly payment for about $700 for impacted spouses. So if you're a spouse and this is something that affects you, you're going to get $700 increase in your Social Security benefits. And if you're a survivor spouse, you're going to get $1,190 on average increase in Social Security benefits because of this law. So not only are retired government employees going to benefit from this, but spouses who were denied benefits and surviving spouses who were also denied benefits are all going to benefit from this act. So no longer will government workers be penalized by the WEP or their survivors by the GPO, giving eligible recipients full benefits afforded others with equivalent points and substantial earnings. So what that means is that this is making sure that whatever treatment the Social Security system treats people who didn't work for the government but are receiving benefits is going to do the same for people who used to work for the government and were denied benefits. The elimination of the GPO means that impacted retirees applying for spousal benefits are eligible for, here is the big part, up to $250,000 in additional lifetime earnings because of this new bill. So if you're a spouse and you were impacted by the GPO, now you're eligible for up to $250,000 in additional lifetime benefits because this law was repealed. So whether the GPO or WEP is fair or not, one thing is clear. These rules created confusion and countless pain for a lot of people, and a lot of people are happy that this thing has been repealed. So as of December 2023, there were 2.1 million people who were affected by the WEP, and then there were about 800,000 people affected by the GPO, and that is about to change. And this is a map of state distribution of where everybody is in terms of those who are going to get this benefit. And in some states, people are going to get up to 90% replacement. For example, in California, a worker who is eligible because of this bill is going to get a 90% replacement. So your life is about to change. If you're in Arizona, because of the way your state's pension system works, you're going to get a 50% replacement. And benefits will be calculated retroactively starting from January 2024, ensuring that eligible recipients don't lose out on entitled benefits. And the Social Security Administration is expected to begin issuing payments as of February and March 2025. So here's an important date you need to think about. February and March 2025, that is when they're going to start issuing the lump sum payments. So you're going to get a big check over $4,000 in lump sum payments for money from January 2024 to December 2025. And then after that, your monthly payment is going to kick in, which is about $360 on average. So this is going to be a big deal. Recipients do not need to do anything. You don't have to take any action to get the money. If you are eligible under the rules, It means that you worked for the government, but you also worked in the private sector for at least 10 years. You contributed the minimum required to get Social Security benefits, but you were denied some or all of your benefit because of the WEP or the GPO, then you're eligible. Eligible recipients will receive a lump sum payment covering the retroactive period, and then their normal benefits will begin. Now, when this was being passed, there was a lot of controversy because a lot of people in Congress were not happy about this because they thought this was not fair. And so there was a push to eliminate this or not pass this. But remember, this has been a 40-year battle. And some senators, like Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, were against it because they thought it was fiscally irresponsible to be giving a group of people money and not everybody else, or spending so much money to do this because they think that it's physically irresponsible to do that. They also tried to raise the retirement age to age 70 during this debate to pass this Social Security Fairness Act. They attempted to increase the Social Security retirement age to 70. That failed. But here's the thing, nothing is free. So without changes to the Social Security system, if Congress does not do anything to Social Security, we're headed for a disaster because come 2033, if we're on this projection, if we're on this path, if we stay on this path where less money is coming to the Social Security system and more money is being taken out due to benefits that are being paid out, there's going to be a crisis. And that crisis, if not addressed by Congress, is going to cause an automatic 20% cut across the board, guaranteed. So the question is, how can Congress fix this issue? The undeniable fact is that Social Security is headed for a crisis by 2033. Nobody disputes that. The question is, how do you fix it? So what is on the table is, number one, increase the retirement age to maybe 67. It's now at 67, maybe to 68, to 70, or bringing more money into the Social Security system. So without the changes, we're headed for a disaster. So what are the options? Bringing more money or slow down the money that's being taken out by increasing the retirement age. Let me know what you think. How do you think the Social Security crisis should be fixed now that we all can agree that there's a crisis about to happen? So the 2033 insolvency date means that benefits will be cut within a decade, automatic 20% reduction, and affects all Social Security recipients if nothing happens. And so if you're getting $2,000, now you'll be getting $1,600. If you're getting $3,000, you'll be getting $2,400. And if no current legislative solution is found, that's where we're headed. So let me wrap this up. What I'm saying is that the Social Security Fairness Act was passed because there were people who have been trying to get this passed for decades. People like the Firefighters Association, this is their representative who is very excited to see this change. We've righted a 40-year wrong. He said, far more egregious for surviving spouses of firefighters who paid their own quotas into Social Security but were victimized by a government pension system. Now firefighters who get paid very little can now afford to actually retire. And then this is a representative of the Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Over 2 million public service workers will finally be able to access Social Security benefits they spend their careers paying into. Many will finally be able to enjoy retirement after a lifetime of service. This is Senator Sherrod Brown, former Senator of Ohio. Social Security is a bedrock of our middle class. You pay into it for 40 quarters. You earned it. It should be there when you retire. All these workers are asking for us is to give them what they earned. This is somebody representing the Preserve Social Security and Medicare spokesperson. President Biden's signing of the Social Security Fairness Act today is truly historic. The new law rights a wrong that for the last 50 years has either reduced or eliminated Social Security benefits for certain government workers. This is a bipartisan solution that most Americans want, even though some on Capitol Hill have proposed to slash benefits by raising the retirement age, which means, raising the retirement age or means testing Social Security or cutting COLA or privatizing Social Security. So you can see there's a lot of pushback there. Now, here's another person. The Peace Officers Research Association of California said for more than 40 years, the Peace Officers Research Association of California has championed the fight to repeal WEP and GPO, which have finally been repealed. It has unfairly penalized public service servants by depriving them of their earned Social Security benefits. So, standing in the White House today, witnessing the president sign the Social Security fairness into law was an incredibly proud and humbling moment, and so on and so forth. So, here's what you need to know. Keep track of the implementation dates that I've mentioned. Come February and March, there will be action on that front where the lump sum payments are going to be mailed to people who are eligible. And here's the big picture. Social Security needs to be fixed. I have said that there is no denying it that by 2033, something will happen. Either Congress has got its act together and passed a law to prolong the solvency of Social Security Trust Fund, or they did nothing and then we're headed for disaster where there's going to be an automatic 20% cut. And I said that the only way to fix this is two options. You slow down the amount of money that is coming out of the system by either increasing the retirement age, which is an option, or you increase the amount of money coming into the system by raising Social Security tax rate. There used to be a two-tier system for Social Security taxes. Maybe a lot of you don't know this, but there used to be a two-tier system. There was right now in 2025, it's 176,000. So if you make up to 176,000, you pay Social Security taxes. So let's say this is it. And then if you made more than 400,000 or more, you pay Social Security taxes. Well, the government Congress eliminated the 400,000 and above threshold. So what happened was that they kept the lower threshold, which in 2025 is up to 176,000, but they eliminated 400,000 and above. That alone slowed down the amount of money that was coming into the system, because if you make more than 400,000, then you don't pay Social Security and Medicare taxes. It's only up to 176,000. So it means that the middle class and the lower income population paid a lot into the system, but if you made more than 400,000, you didn't pay. That is what was done. I'm just reporting what is actually the fact. And so that slowed down the amount of money coming into the system. Meanwhile, the baby boomer generation is retiring at a record rate, and so more money is coming out of the system in payments. And there has to be a balance between money coming in and money going out so that the system can survive. So to balance that again, you need to bring in more money or slow down the rate at which it's going out. And so you can increase the retirement rate or the retirement age, which they've just done. They moved it from 66 to 67, but they probably have to go a little further. If they don't want to mess with taxes, then the other option is to increase the retirement age or do both. So as you listen to the news, as you listen to politicians talk about, we're going to preserve Social Security, we're not going to touch Social Security. Well, not doing anything is not an option. It's not a solution, because something has to be done. So I want to hear from you. What do you think? How do you think Social Security can be fixed? What do you think about the Social Security Fairness Act? Do you think Congress should pass a law to increase Social Security benefits for everybody? There's been a law that has been sitting there in Congress to increase Social Security by $200 for everybody. That will be $2,400 a year. It's been languishing in Congress. I think that is the most likely bill that could pass, because let's be fair, the Social Security cost of living has not kept up with inflation. This year it was 2.5%, $40 on average. That can't even buy groceries for a week. And so there is the fact that is in front of all of us. Social Security increase has not kept up with inflation. Inflation in gas, food, clothing, rent, housing, transportation, medical care. And so I want to hear your thoughts, and I'm going to be doing another live probably in the next 2 days, where I'm going to detail the changes that are coming for Social Security, things that have been floating around that is going to happen in the next Congress that is soon about to get started once Trump gets inaugurated. There's going to be a lot of activity. And anybody that tells you that Social Security is not going to be touched is lying to you, because one way or the other, something's going to be done. And so I'm going to bring you all that news and what I think is on the horizon for Social Security, food stamps, which is on the chopping block, which is one of the easiest thing for them to touch because nobody's really advocating for low income people. So when Congress want to cut spending, they want to cut food stamps. That is also on the chopping block. And there's been talk about Medicaid, and that is scary because a lot of people depend on Medicaid. So, especially if you think about it, a lot of most people don't know this, but most assisted living facilities or people on assisted living is actually paid by Medicaid. Medicaid bears most of the assisted living costs of this country. A lot of people don't know that. If you're a senior and you get to a particular age and you cannot afford to go to an assisted living home, Medicare does not cover that. Medicare does not cover it. You have to come out of pocket, or you're poor enough to cover, qualify for Medicaid. So when we mention Medicaid, a lot of people are like, oh, that doesn't affect me. I'm on Medicare. Well, guess what? When you get to a certain age and you cannot afford to go to a nursing home or assisted living facility, Medicaid is what you're going to need. And if you meet the income threshold, then, and so that's why majority of the expenses of that is covered. But when politicians throw the word Medicaid out, they make it seem like it's something that is not deserved. And so it's easy for them to say, oh, we're going to put a work requirement on Medicaid. We're going to cut Medicaid. Well, do your research and learn that Medicaid covers a lot of late stage care for seniors that cannot afford it. And so when they're talking about cutting things, and you're like, oh, I'm on Medicare, it's not going to affect me. It's going to affect you in the future. So let's pay attention to the news. I will do another live. I'll bring you all the news as I see it, the facts, and then you make your decision on what you think is happening or not happening. So until I see you in the next live, thank you for spending the evening with me. I appreciate you watching this, and I'll see you on my next live. Thank you.